Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Astro Inklings. I am your happy hostess, Tam V, and I am here with my darling friend and tulip sister and bringer of amazing information, Karyn Chabot. Welcome, Karyn. I'm happy to have you back.
Thank you. It's an honor, and I'm happy to be here.
Good, good, good. Okay, today's podcast is likely to knock the socks off some astrologers. It's likely to knock the socks off anybody who likes astrology and thinks they know it. And it's also likely to shake somebody up who might be long time into cardology, right? We got that kind of a topic.
Yes, we can talk about both cardology and astrology. Doesn't matter if it's sidereal or tropical. What I'm going to share applies to both.
Perfect. Okay. So away we go. Karyn has discovered something that is really remarkable and what I have found to really feel true and accurate. So I am so excited that she's offered to come to my show and share her wisdom on this topic. So she wrote an article and she shared it with me. And the first sentence that she wrote in this article, I think is the really great jumping off point for this conversation. And Karyn, to remind you, what you wrote is this. What if we incarnate along an axis rather than at a single point? To my astrology people, remember, when you go get an astrology reading, you disclose the day you were born, the time you were born, and the location of your birth. The astrologer will then read you based off that single location. Karyn is ready to challenge that and not challenge that in a harsh way. She's ready to unfold information that has been given to her. Karyn, what is going on? What's up? Please tell us.
Okay, well, I'm part of a collective of souls from the sixth dimension called the Blue Sapphire Collective. And I was working with one of my friends who was also part of the Blue Sapphire Collective, and she was channeling my wider self, my higher self. And we were having a lovely conversation. I did not ask for this information, and I'm very grateful for it. Don't get me wrong, but they just told me that cardology and astrology should be seen through an axis, 2 points, because we live in worlds of duality. There are two sides to every coin. We have two eyes, two ears, two legs. And they didn't say it in a way that it was intended to rock my world or destabilize me, and I was probably ready for the knowledge because they would never give me knowledge that I wasn't ready for. However, I did deny it for about a month. I didn't want to look at it, or I dismissed it, because if I was to truly embrace it, what that would mean as an astrologer, I'm a professional astrologer, 20 years or longer, and cardologer, that I have been reading my own chart, my own self, and my clients on one foot with one eye. And try walking around life with one foot and seeing the world through one eye. You're going to stumble. And so for them to explain that, since we live in this dualistic world, for it should be applied to everything, everything. So we live in a world of relationship. And if we understand the relationship is how we actually evolve, relationship with ourselves, relationship with others, then why shouldn't there be a relationship in our astrology charts? And why would we only be stuck on one point on one side of the earth at one specific time, when we actually, if you look at time and birthdays as energetic mystical junctions that have patterns, that have lessons to be learned, and soul contracts, and so much measurable resonant frequency on every birthday that is unique. Why wouldn't we have a reciprocal on the other side of the equator? And this is very specifically like an acupuncture needle going right through the earth to the other side of where you were born, just like this. Yes. Then we have 2 points. So I realized after finding my antipodal using AI, I had to use the latitude and longitude because there was no city or town at my exact antipodal point. It was in the Indian Ocean.
Hold on one second. Let's slow down so everybody can catch up. We're getting there though. Wow. Like first of all, the blue sapphire just sort of go, by the way, Karen.
Yes, it was sort of just dropped, and I don't think that they meant it to be, a pop star situation, but and I didn't think of it at the time either. I just first, of course, I always have to check everything, so I took it with a grain of salt, but very intrigued and a little bit in denial, like that can't be, because then if it was, then that would mean, oh my gosh, I thought I was doing a great job for the last 20 years. But it made me relook, and I had to kind of swallow my pride, become a student again. And it was, a little bit humbling. So I looked at my antipodal to see if it made sense before I completely embraced it. And I spent a long time finding a software program that would just allow me to put in latitude and longitude, which I did find Parash was like, yes.
I get it. Hold on. You're about to go deep again. And I'm going to just keep pulling you back. And so I make sure everybody understands this. First of all, let's talk about the fact that in Western astrology, Uranus is in Gemini. Uranus brings revelatory information, downloads, insights. It's kind of surprising, kind of shocking. Gemini is that sign where it does rule siblings, it does rule short distance travel, but it rules really communication and language and study, right? All of that.
And the twins.
And the twins. Yes, I've thought about that too, the twins. So here's Karen. Uranus had just entered Gemini, and it wasn't long after, it was days that it happened. I remember that when you had called me to tell me about this, it had just been days that Uranus had moved into Gemini, and bang, she's like, Tam, I have this thing and this happened. And now you just said I had to become the student. And Gemini really is the sign of the student. So now Karen has to sort through and start learning and looking into, and correct me if I'm wrong, Karen, axes, we'd call them, right?
Yeah.
This is an axis. This is point A. This is point B. If this is the Earth, this is an axis. Now, Karen is about to go into information. Let's use your birthday, Karen. You're in November 29. Location is
Boston.
Boston, longitude and latitude. Now, help me out with what you're going to say next. Go ahead and continue on this.
Okay, so in order to find your antipodal, you got to get your birthday, and then you ask AI for the day that is 6 months from your birthday, so we cut the calendar year in half. Yes, the calendar year is 12 months, so we take that half of that, and we find May 29th is half of November 29th, and we always add the same year. So even if, so backwards and forwards doesn't matter. It's literally a cut in half. So I put that data in to the AI program, and I said, please find my latitude and longitude for what would be the other side of the equator. I was born on November 29th, but 6 months away, it would be May 29th. And they gave me the latitude and longitude, and they said it was Indian Ocean. There was no town or city. So I spent a long time trying to figure out how to bypass cities and town requirements in the software, and I was able to find the exact antipodal. The degrees changed when I opened my chart. I had a opposite, like a mirror effect of my chart. So in Vedic astrology, sidereal astrology, I'm Aries ascendant, and in the antipodal, of course, Aries is on the opposite side of Libra. I'm a Libra ascendant. And it was amazing to look at my chart in a mirror way. It's a whole new perspective where you understand that, say you have moon in the first house, you're going to have moon in the seventh house. So if you have, the nodes are always on an axis anyways, Rahu and Ketu are 7 away. But if they're in my 3-9 position, or my 3-9 axis, house 3, house 9, they're going to be also they're going to be in both houses. So Rahu and Mercury live in my third house in my natal chart, but in my antipodal chart, they live in my ninth house, which is 7 away. And so the whole chart is yes, and this is a Western chart. I do a Vedic astrology North Indian chart where there are diamonds and triangles, but it's all the same anyways. It's just a matter of looking at it. You just fold the chart in half. Basically, you fold it in half this way if you're doing Northern Indian, so that the Aries ascendant goes to the 7th house, and you flip it. It's just one big complement, almost. It's a flip. So that birth chart I stared at for the longest time to see if I could relate to it, and oh my gosh, I can. I always wondered where my creativity came from, because I was a dancer, a professional. I did ballet and jazz, and I taught hip hop. I worked with my own dance troupe even. I was fully into creativity and singing. Every night I sang with my husband. He had a guitar and I was his vocal, and I danced around him while I sang, and I thought everybody did this. But when I left him, I realized, wow, that not everybody sings and dances every night. So I had to learn that I'm going to find my singing and dancing other places. So I started doing Zumba classes, and so I'm continuing on, but that does not show in my Aries chart.
So in your singular chart, if you were just to use your first birthday,
Yeah, in my
November
natal,
29th, it was missing.
that's called the natal, just
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that
yeah.
we
Natal.
have a name for it. And
Natal
then
chart. Yep.
the antipodal is the one that's 6 months away. So yes, on the November 29th natal chart, I could not find where the creative side, where was this Venusian side of me that was so clear. I was so clearly Venusian. Everything had to be beautiful in my house. I always went to art galleries. Art was a big part of my life. And I gave birth to a Libra ascendant daughter who's totally in the Venus Aries axis. And I know I came through the Venus Aries axis. So this, it completed the missing pieces. I had astrologers look at me, my colleagues, say, "Oh, you're a Mars girl." I didn't like being called that because I didn't feel I was fully all Mars.
Right.
A sweet, soft side that's Venusian, and this fit me.
I get it. And I'm sure that so many of the people listening and watching this are going to get it. If you've ever had an astrology reading, you're like, but it's somehow off, like something is missing. I have felt that way myself. Like, how come people don't see that huge compassion and huge love that I have? How come people don't see that first? It really takes somebody getting close with me to fully understand how deeply I love. But like, I'm Virgo natal chart, but I'm Piscean in my antipodal chart, and it just feels so real and so accurate. Uh,
Yes.
for everybody who is watching, I want you to consider this. You have a second birthday. It is called your antipodal birthday.
Yes, yes. It's really the other side of you. So it's not even, it's just that if you see a coin on the street with the heads facing up, does it mean the tails don't exist? The
Right.
tail's just not showing. So we
Good.
just haven't seen it. And we now, it's time to see that. The world is waking up. We're going through such a revelational transition in the world
Yes.
itself, where things are coming to the light more than ever. This is one of those things that it's ready. We are ripe, and the world needs to see the fullness of who we are, the
And
complete
everybody.
picture.
I
Yeah.
couldn't, I couldn't agree with you more. I do think we are in this awakening. I think the Uranus Gemini transit encourages the awakening and the seeking of more knowledge, such as this. It's just so important. And that was an amazing explanation of antipodal birthdays. I think the larger topic about how do we work with it, how do we integrate it, is like a whole discussion in and of itself that I think we should have separately. What I'd like to do now is sort of talk about the cards. You are a master of the card. cardologist, cardologer, I'm not sure the right word. Um, and I'm really a student of cardology, trying to learn and understand and integrate this information. For my people who follow like the simpler version of astrology, I've been trying to introduce this idea that along with your birthday and the astrology, there is a playing card that you are represented by. So I'm holding up the Two of Clubs because this is my birth card. This is a card that represents who I am. Everybody has a playing card that represents them. Now, because we have antipodal birthdays, it also means there's a second card, Karen, that will represent me too. Yeah?
Yes, yes. It's the reciprocal card, I call it in cardology, the antipodal in astrology. So the antipodal, I forgot to tell you that, excuse me, it's not just about your location on the other side of the equator. It's also cutting the birth time of day in half. So those astrologers out there who want to find their antipodal, excuse me, give me a second, a little catch in my throat. If you want to find your antipodal birthday, use the AI prompts, get the latitude and longitude, but you must also understand that you cut the day in half when you are finding your antipodal birth time. So say you're born at 3 p.m. in Boston as your natal birth card. On the antipodal, you would be at 3 a.m.
Oh, yes.
Or say you were at 6 p.m. in your natal birthday. On your antipodal, you'd be at 6 a.m. It's that simple, 24 hours into 12. Just cut it in half, just the way you cut the earth in half. And then you can play with your antipodal chart. And I would suggest doing rectification, checking significant events. When did they happen? Even in sidereal astrology, we have something called gemstones, which are the internal cycles. Check your internal cycles and see, when did you get married? When did you get divorced? When did you graduate school? When did you have a baby? All these very significant events, if they don't show in your natal chart, they do show in your antipodal. It's amazing. I did all that. I went back to graduation, my marriages, divorces, children. I mean, I did it all. And it shows in the antipodal what doesn't show in my natal. So I found the fullness of me that way. And I feel so much more, I guess it's bittersweet. I feel like, wow, I get it now. I see the big picture. It's awakening. However, I feel a little bit, well, now what do? I have to open 2 charts for every client, which I do. And then I have been finding that some people have chosen to play more in their antipodal chart and express more in their life. And some have stayed in their natal. And then some even in one day, they can do the morning and have an expression and work within their natal chart. And then by evening, they put a foot in the door on the antipodal. Some people just play equally. If you don't like your natal chart, and if you don't really like the Vimshotri and where it's going, you can learn how to slide timelines into your antipodal and express fully from there if you're trying to avert the danger that you see or the adversities you see in your natal chart. Now, that's a whole nother topic. There's something called transurfing and timeline sliding, and there's a way to do it. So this information isn't just giving you the fullness of who you are and opening your eyes wide. It also opens your ability to take control and master your life. And where do you want to express from? What's your favorite birthday? And choose it and step into it. Yes. Where do you want to be? You have options. Yes.
I love the idea of being able to kind of move between the 2 charts as needed and to your own benefit. I mean, that's really it.
Our soul knows which to choose, but if we become more conscious about it, and I've been practicing timeline sliding, and I know I was successful because you told me you had my May 29th birthday today. I was thrilled because I was wondering, how if I was, the only way you can tell if you were successful is through the eyes of another. You can't just, say, oh, I feel it, so I have arrived. You can trust that eventually, but to know if you really slid the timeline you want to be in, you really must look at it through people that love you and who are with you on that day that, or that week that you are questioning, did I slide?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to simplify that, basically what she's saying is that I validated what she was trying to do unknowingly. I had no clue. I was submitting information to her, and oh, by the way, today, and she was like, boom, that is exactly proof for her that she had slid into the proper timeline. So it's
Yeah.
remarkable. And life, our souls and the movement of us in this world is very fluid, and we can control it should we choose to. And Karyn is playing with it now. And again, really big topics. Karyn is probably going to teach this significantly in her career. There's just so much to it. And now I do.
Can I show you just a version if anyone wonders?
Oh,
This is my
yes.
antipodal chart. So you can see Saturn is here and Saturn is here. Moon is here, Moon is here, and Neptune.
Yes.
So the chart is a mixture of both my natal and my antipodal. Yeah, so we can move into cardology now and talk about the reciprocal cards that are very similar to the antipodal charts.
I would love to do that. As I was saying earlier, like everybody is represented by one card. I'm going to actually pull your card, Karyn, so that we can explain about cards. Why don't you jump into us having a birth card?
Okay, well, just to explain cardology briefly, for those people who don't know what it is, every single day of the year is accounted for by a very ancient formula. It's not willy-nilly that, oh, January 1st is the King of Spades, and willy-nilly that your birthday, September 22nd, is the Two of Clubs. It's not a random situation like you throw tarot cards and it's a picture of the consciousness of the moment. Instead, these are assigned using a mathematical formula. And they are the same every year. So it is actually, I'd call it a birthday directory and a global transit chart, because these frequencies every day of the year play out. So that, yes, we have personal transit cards, like she had the Three of Clubs today in her personal transits, which is the timeline, which is the May 29th birthday, Three of Clubs. So that was assigned to me that I had successfully slided. Oh, this is my book. Thank you. Yes, if you want to get my book, I talk about cardology here, but I published this book on, I think it was March 14th. And then, I don't know, somewhere the month later, the Blue Sapphires told me about the reciprocals and the antipodals, so that's not in my book. But there probably should be another book now on that part of this. It's so big that I wish that I had gotten this information before I published. But anyways, so I'm coming back to cardology. Tam, her birthday, September 22nd. That anyone born on that day is going to have a Two of Clubs, which is not, go fish, and it's not gambling, and these cards have been demonized. This is actually a mystical clock. It's a divine oracle that was given to us by it was formulated and created by highly loving and evolved extraterrestrials, or call them what you want, ETs, galactic beings, star beings. And there's a long story about how they got to Earth, but I'll just skip over that. But just know that the creation of the deck of cards was really a tiny unbound book that was handed to humans in the very beginning of our existence on Earth, older than anything you can imagine. And they did this for us to actually use as a navigation tool, because here on Earth we drink the nectar of losing our memories, of forgetfulness. So we come here and we forget who we are, and we signed up for that. So what they said is, okay, if you're going to drink the nectar of forgetfulness and get your memories wiped out, then at least use this tiny book, this unbound tiny book, because we are unbound beings. So in this tiny unbound book, You will not find words, because words are ruled by the trickster Mercury. Instead, you will find symbols. The language that is from heaven is symbology. How do we dream? In symbols. So this book is filled, I mean, this little tiny book, the deck of cards, is filled with symbology and language about who we are. The pips on the cards are literally like sheets of music. They're vibrational codes.
That's a
Every
pip.
single card, that's a pip. Yeah, the suits are the little pips. And they're like the sheet of music, and they literally have a resonant frequency. And you can actually eventually find your birthday song by looking at the pips on the card. Now, every card is assigned a number. So Tam, born on September 22nd, anyone born on that day is going to play star code 22, the two of clubs. And you see her two pips is one up and one down. It's about duality, two people and partnership. Her card tells me that she really has an affinity for partnership.
Collabs. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's just a part of me. There's many, many cards that each of us have that help identify us.
Yes.
But now that we understand there in astrology, there's a second birthday, antipodal birth chart, right? Uh,
Yes.
there's going to be a second card that represents who I am. And tell us about how we discover the reciprocal card that identifies us.
Okay, just the same way you do with the antipodal, you look 6 months away. However, our calendar is not in perfect harmony with nature. So it's a little twisted, and it has a lot of historical, things have been taken out and added in. So it really should be 29 days if it was to be in perfect harmony with the lunations. There are 13 lunations, and there should be 13 months. And if I could design the most perfect calendar for this world, I would design it to be 13 months to follow the 13 lunations and make it 29 days or 28 days, because that's the number of days between in a woman's menses cycle. And it is what would be aligned with health and harmony. However, we're on a sort of a twisted calendar, and leap years and man-made time is really an illusion. So we put the principles of the waning and waxing of cardology first above the actual the calendar. So there are some exceptions because of the last 3 to 4 days of the month. So if you were born in the last 3 or 4 days of the month and you find a birthday 6 months away that doesn't have your exact birth number, say the 31st or the 30th, I have found the exceptions. I found your reciprocal card based on a formula that supersedes the calendar. So the formula is about waxing and waning, and it's always going to be one number up or one number down. So Tam is a 2, right? She's a 2 of clubs, and she went into a waning, which is a decrease. She went to the ace. Okay, and some people, it depends on what part of the year you were born. So if you were born in the later part of the year, you're going to wane in your reciprocal card by 1. On the first part of the year, up until June, you will wax one number up. Or if you're a Jack, King, Queen, one suit up, or one face card value up. And also the same thing goes with the suits. So the suits go in a beautiful order. It's very coherent, and it's static. You cannot change the order of these suits. It's hearts, clubs, diamonds, spades. This is the structure of life, and it's in a container. And so we go up one suit or down one suit. Okay, so that is how we use and apply the formula for the waxing and waning principle in the reciprocal cardology theories. So basically, Tam is playing the 2 of clubs, the ace of diamonds, and came through the 2 ace axes. She is actually both cards, and there it's perfectly aligned with who she is.
So
And
true.
she can choose one or the other. Yes, and yeah, she can do what I did, just timeline. If she wants to be in the ace, if she looks at her yearly chart for the ace of diamonds and it looks better than the 2 of clubs, she can timeline slide more into the ace of diamonds to avert the adversities in the other card. It is so empowering.
That is so empowering, and that is a tool that I need to start employing. So you know me, I'm always about simplifying information. So Karen is saying that if you take your birthday and look forward or back 6 months, either way, it's going to be about 6 months. There is a formula for figuring out exactly where your reciprocal card is. And I believe that I have seen a chart. Is it the Venusian man? No, the Vitruvian man. That there's a chart that does that show reciprocals?
I don't I don't think anybody's ever done a reciprocal chart. I know
Oh,
that
you're right. You're right. I'm thinking about mirrors and shadows. Sorry. Sorry. Yep.
that was the image that they gave me, was the Vitruvian man, that he was standing left foot on one birthday and right foot on the other birthday. So
Right.
it was, yeah, that was the image that came.
That's what it
So,
was. Yep.
yes, that's where you got that. But I am submitting a article to cardology.org and see if they will publish that. I also am uploading this to my Substack and to my blog on my 52starcodes.org website, where I have put the exceptional birthdays. So, if you're easy peasy, and say, for example, like Tam is easy peasy September 22nd to what is
March
6 months away.
22nd.
So she was not within that last 4 days, 3 to 4 days, where it gets wonky of the month. But I have listed all of those sort of wonky birthdays so that you can find your reciprocal. If you are born in one of those days, you can just look at my blog.
As we get to sort of wrap this up, Karen, because what my goal was to tease people into wanting to look at this. I want every astrologer to watch this and say, what? And I just want their minds to open, right? What do you want to say to experienced astrologers who are maybe questioning this? Do you have anything you want to say?
Thank you for asking. Yes, there, you know what? You're probably, if you're an astrologer like me and you've done this for a long time, you're going to push back, because we are creatures of habit. Nobody wants to be told that we've been doing everything wrong. And it's not wrong. It's actually that we are just expanding. Okay. So what you did and what I did was correct, but just not in its fullness. And now we are able, with Jupiter exalted in Cancer and sidereals, we are able to fully expand and see with two eyes, and stop hobbling around on one foot and get your readings more accurate. So what I'd like to say is, Richard Feynman once remarked that the pleasure of science comes from finding things out. Whether someone is studying physics, music, language, or symbolic system, that feeling is the same. The excitement is not in proving yourself right. It is in suddenly seeing a pattern that was not visible before. So if you can use that perspective and just give it like I did. I couldn't fully embrace until I opened up my antipodal chart and looked at my Three of Clubs, May 29th, reciprocal card, and to see, does this make sense? Does it resonate? And because, at age 62, I don't just buy anything anymore. I need it to resonate. I have that wisdom finally. I've discernment that, just because someone said something, I'm not going to buy it. So I had to go in with the knowledge I have of astrology and verify, so that I could feel comfortable embracing this. So that is my recommendation. You asked me, what should they do? Do exactly that.
I love that. And every time I think I know it all, I prove myself wrong. It's just so true. 9 times out of 10, my husband will say to me, "Hey, Tam, where are the car keys?" I know I left them on the hook in the other room. I know I did. I know I did. I know I did. And he finds them on the floor in the bathroom. So, you know,
Stuff happens, and
it all just happens. Yeah, we have to put down what we think we know about life and be willing
yes,
to take on. We are in an age of awakening, and that really is an important message in this podcast, that open your mind and allow this new information to come in. If you're one of my, I'm going to use air quotes, astrology students, like you're following me and you know that I really like to simplify information. If you're reading the Energy Almanac and you're saying, like, Tam, why are you bringing this to me? At the most base level, I really want everybody to understand that there is a second birthday worth looking at. There is more information that helps you understand you. I think the bulk of my work is in helping people to know themselves more deeply and make decisions based on that. Well, I now know that I have a lot more information to study, to look at, to slide timelines, to slide personalities if I want to. I kind of was listening to you, Karen, talking about sliding timelines, and I'm like, it's like wearing my baseball cap when I play third base in softball, and it's like wearing a professional business suit when I have to go do whatever. Like I can change costumes,
Yes.
right?
Yes, we can. And I've even tracked when there was a decade actually in my life where I played one specific birthday in my 20s. And I went back into the people around me. I mean, I had all kinds of situations that I could measure and track using math and not just intuitive. I'm blended the intuition, I always do, but I wanted to find the math. And so I noticed in my 20s, I needed to be more in my three of clubs. Okay, so then I went into my 30s. And so I saw that where in my life I had put my 2 feet on one birthday as opposed to other times in my life where I might have had 2 feet on the other birthday. And now I've come to a place in my life where I have this awareness that I was doing that. And now I can actually master it. I can take control. And I am choosing the May 29th birthday. And I made that very clear yesterday in deep meditation. And
Oh,
I went into the timeline sliding. There are protocols we do, and I did that. It involves earthing, grounding. I have a favorite tree that you met that I sent a picture on Facebook that I climbed up. Yeah, I talked to that tree, and that trees are beings alive, and they hear us and they want to help, and the earth hears us. So barefoot on the earth, swimming in the ocean, do whatever you have to do to connect first. That's how you first begin your sliding. And then from that grounded place, you meditate and you go into the feeling of what would it feel like if I was expressing through, say for you, the Ace of Diamonds. What would it feel like? And then feel it, fully feel it, step into it. Or you could say to yourself, your higher or wider self, I I ask you to tell me where's the most joy? Slide me there. You
mm.
can do that as well.
Where is the most joy? Just slide me there. I'll have some of that. I love that. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a beautiful way to begin the journey of sliding timelines. I think this is such useful information. There's an axis. You have a singular birthday, but maybe you have a second birthday. I think we're pretty sure that we have two birthdays, two cards, and you and I, we are collaborating in the best way possible. By the way, I'm a two of clubs. She's a six of clubs, right?
Well, I'm a six of clubs on my internal.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So that still matters. Yeah.
Yeah. Four of hearts, two of
I,
clubs, six of
yeah.
clubs.
Four
Yeah.
of Hearts is my primary
Yeah.
natal card. And yeah, I prefer to be in my May 29th, Three of Clubs.
And so she shall go to three of clubs. All right,
Yes, and
everybody.
that makes us having a sun moon connection, by the way.
I know it does. Two
I'm
of
your
clubs,
sun,
three of
you're my
clubs.
moon.
Yep.
I mean, that's family, that's soul family when you make sun moon connection.
You meet your soul family, you know.
Yes,
Everybody, you know.
yes. No, you recognize it's always familiar.
Yeah, it's always familiar. Exactly. This has been so delightful. I'd like you to tell everybody how to be in touch with your work. So those who want to get a reading, which is so powerful, or go to school or whatever, tell people how to get hold of you, please.
Go to my website, 52, the number 52, starcodes.org, and book a reading if you want to just learn about this. I'm happy to teach about it. We can make it, a reading, but whatever happens during the reading is really whatever you wish. So I'm happy to teach you or actually do the reading or a little of both, or we can do private lessons. Happy to do that. Also, I'm in the middle of teaching a school, so it's too late for the enrollment for anyone to join in now. But you can also just find me on Substack, Karyn Chabot. I think it's Karyn Chabot. Substack /Karyn Chabot. Find me on Facebook. Anything else? Oh, you can go to Amazon and look up my book. You might want to learn that way. 52 Cards and the Starcodes.
There you go. And it looks like this. It's beautiful. And
Yeah, and Tam was my
it's
editor.
a
Yeah.
lot of information. You can see I reference it quite a bit. Okay, this has been amazing. So thank you so much for taking the time with me today on what, a Three of Clubs day? Is that what I said I was in today?
You were in a personal Three of Clubs day today, which was an affirmation that I
There's her
decided to
validation
highlight.
on an Ace of Clubs global day and a Five of Diamonds global week. So there's lots of layers here. So much fun. And I appreciate all of you for watching. I am Tam, and Tam I am. I am who I am because you are who you are. You and I are one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.